so that any interested members of the public can listen to the proceedings. In fact, today we have a few members of the public who are joining us for the Buffalo item. So I'm going to ask for a motion in a second to call to order the March 10th, 22 meeting of, I think we have enough for SONYMA, so let's start with SONYMA. Ruth Ann? Can I have a motion? A motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second for SONYMA?
Second.
Okay,
Dave here.
so Dave, thank you. So Ruth Ann made the motion, Dave second. John Ballin, please say aye.
Aye.
Jesse, you're on. Has Elaine joined us? Not yet. Abidan Rodriguez?
I'm here.
Okay, and
Yes.
B.
Elaine
Okay,
is here.
Oh, great.
Elaine is here, but I'm going to go out and try to come back in. I'm having technical problems.
Okay.
Okay,
Stevie
Okay,
just
let-
arrived.
we got you. So SONYMA is open. While we're at it, I'll do the SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee. Can I have a motion for to open that committee?
So moved.
And a second?
Jesse, second.
Okay. So Jonathan, say aye. And Ruth Ann?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And so we're open there. And we're going to open up MBBA. Can I have a motion for MBBA?
So moved.
Okay. And a second?
I second.
Okay. And then we have Jesse. Say aye.
Aye.
So just send me a text. Thanks.
The tone.
And
Please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
okay, we're all being recorded. Has Joyce joined us? Not yet. Okay, so let's keep going on MBBA. For the MBBA Financing Program, that's Jesse and Andy. So that's simple. A motion.
So moved. It's Jesse.
And Andy, second.
Seconded.
Okay, great. So we're open everything except for HFA and AHC and HTFC. So Ruth Ann, your president's report.
Thank you, Alex.
Mhm.
Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome. I wanted to share that we were really excited that the governor attended one of our groundbreakings in Buffalo last week. Governor Hochul was certainly a regular at our housing announcements when she was the lieutenant governor, but we were really excited to have her as governor for the first time be at our Olympic Avenue Apartments event, and she certainly reaffirmed her commitment to investing in high quality affordable housing across the state. So we were really excited about that. I wanted to take you up to speed, get up to speed on a few things. First, I'll just touch base again on the Homeownership Assistance Fund, which continues to be a big focus of ours here. Second, the omnibus spending bill at the federal level. And thirdly, just sort of a quick preview on a big preservation project that you will hear about in the Bronx, or maybe have read about in your materials. So the Homeowner Assistance Fund. So last month we had just closed the window for the application. We have begun approving applications and committing funds. We received just over 30,000 applications. More than 8,000 have been deemed eligible, and over 1,000 low to moderate income homeowners have already been awarded assistance. As we've sort of talked about before, most of the early awards are for people who have property taxes, water and sewer arrearages, and the mortgage arrears, since we have to work with the servicers and lenders, will come after that. But we're really excited to be working on this and excited to be starting to cut checks and get money out to people. It's a lot of work to verify eligibility and determine final award amounts. And it's a lot of work in negotiating with banks and mortgage servicers, making sure that they're providing homeowners all the relief that they're entitled to, But it's certainly great to be able to assist thousands of homeowners by having their mortgage terms extended or missed payments or forbearance amounts deferred, in some cases having interest rates reduced in order to lower monthly payments. So it's a steady progress, and we'll continue to update. Maybe we'll skip a month and come back to you in May with an update on that. Secondly, as many people may have seen, the House passed an omnibus spending bill to keep the federal government open. We're sort of in the midst of looking at the direct impact, but just a couple highlights. The bill includes funding for tenant-based rental assistance, which is obviously very important to us and to all the people who receive that assistance. It includes an expansion of tenant-based rental assistance, which are really, I think is great, including funding provided to the VA for supportive housing for homeless veterans and Native American veterans programs. It includes an increase in funding for public housing. So while not something directly we administer, certainly the public housing around the state has been in need of increased funding. So that's certainly great. There sort of nationally is a little over 1.75 billion in programs that include CDBG and home. So things that you see come through both the HTFC board and the HFA board. So that's great. There is also an increase in Section 8 project-based rental assistance. So again, something that HGR programmatically is operating. And there was also some increased funding for fair housing and equal opportunity, which was something that was included in the president's budget, and we're certainly really excited to see. So we'll continue to watch that bill as it goes to the Senate and see how those amounts change, but always happy to see increased funding at the federal level for our housing programs. And lastly, I would say we're really delighted to bring before the board today an item which really is a continuation of a really strong investment in housing. The SONYMA board is going to be asked to approve the refinance of an existing SONYMA insured Wells Fargo loan for Co-op City up in the Bronx. SONYMA originally insured this loan back in 2012. We will also ask the Mortgage Insurance Committee and the SONYMA directors to approve permanent mortgage insurance on the development. We do this in conjunction with New York City HDC, who provides sort of co-insurance, so to speak, on the project as well. Many of you, I'm sure, know this, but the Co-op City is 35 high-rise buildings, 7 townhouse clusters. It has 15,372 state Mitchell-Lama units, and 330,000 square feet of retail space across 3 shopping centers. By refinancing the $621 million loan, we will avoid the tenants getting an increase in their monthly maintenance charges and allow the building to put over, I believe it's over $100 million in capital work into the building over time, again, without raising any maintenance charges at the complex. So it's really a great, sort of a great win all around. And also reflects a great partnership between the federal government, the state government, and the city government, as well as also the local officials that got involved in these types of projects. So it's great. So with that, I will go back to Alex. I go back to myself. I think I go back to myself.
Yep. All
right. So we are going to start this month, slight awkward transition, with HTFC first. Is that right, Alex? And then, but before we do HTFC, we're also going to do MBBA real quick so we can let MBBA go.
Yes. Okay. So this month we're deviating from our procedures, and we'll be taking up the Htfc agenda first, and then we'll move to the other agencies since Htfc always gets put at the end. But before we do that, another change is we're going to take up 2 items that involve just simply our bond bank agency, so that they don't have to stick around for the entire meeting. So the first item is the transcripts of the meetings held on February 17th, 2022 will be deemed approved absent corrections for the members and directors. We don't need a resolution. And the minutes of the MBBA Finance and Program Committee held all the way back in April 12th of 2018, the last time that committee met, will also be deemed approved absent corrections from the directors and the members. So the first item, I'll do this.
Alex, so remember back then?
Yeah, it's difficult. I had to struggle to find those minutes, Andy. So the first item is Resolution 2, Item 2, Resolutions of MBBA and of its Finance and Program Committee. recommending and authorizing the issuance of an amount not to exceed $8,200,000 of special program City of Buffalo, refunding revenue bonds 2022 series, and the appointment of underwriters. At this point, I just want to check to see if I do believe we have representatives of Buffalo Controller's Office and other members of the Buffalo Working Group on the telephone. I know Bond Counsel is on. I know the financial advisor is on, and there may be others. So those folks, if you have questions or comments, feel free to step in at whenever you need to. So I'm just going to.
Alex, I mean, should we, as members of the MBBA board, start with the questioning, and so the folks from the City of Buffalo then can respond, or are they going to make a presentation?
I'm just going to do a very brief presentation, Andy, and then turn it over to the board, and then they can answer any questions. Okay?
Okay. Yep.
All right. So back in 2001, MBBA was asked to issue about $27 million in bonds by the City of Buffalo to facilitate a payment of a settlement to the Buffalo Federation of Teachers. This was done in 2001. The bonds were then, a number of those bonds were redeemed in 2012. And what we're being asked now by the City of Buffalo is that in light of the current low interest rate environment, they've requested MBBA to refund the remaining outstanding bonds, other than a particular series that matures by itself on May 1. The structure of the transaction is the same as the original one. The existing security structure for the MBBA bonds provides a subordinate lien on school-aid revenues, and as set forth in the memo, the amount of funds expected to be available in March are more than enough to pay for the refunding bonds. The subordinate lien is subordinate to the lien of the Erie County joint school construction bonds. So the rest of the memo, I think, just lays out the structure, which is the same one as in the prior transaction, and the goal here is simply to do a refunding to generate debt service savings for the City of Buffalo. So with that, I'll stop, and if there are any questions from the board, happy to take them.
Okay. I have a few questions, and what I thought I'd start with is, first of all, I'm certainly receptive to the concept of refunding these outstanding bonds. However, let me just start with, initially I wasn't sure whether or not the underwriters have already been appointed, but as I read down through the resolutions, I saw that they were, and I said, how were the senior manager and the co-manager determined? Okay, and I saw backing down in section number 9 of the second resolution to be approved that it says that the senior manager and the co-managers were appointed at the request of the municipality. So I was just trying to confirm, was it the City of Buffalo that made those appointments, or was it something that was collectively done with this MBBA as well as the city?
Okay. Doron, do you want to? Doron Barlovov, are you on Bond Counsel?
Yes, I am. As has been the case, I guess, in the prior couple of deals, the city obviously has been about the party in interest, and I think that they have always requested underwriters that they were familiar with and had confidence that we're able to get the financing done well. And so when the FA for Buffalo contacted MBBA, there was a discussion and a request for the underwriters that you see there, Andy. And so it was mostly at the direction or request of Buffalo with the acquiescence of MBBA.
Okay. My next question is.
Well, Andy, if I,
does that satisfy the procurement requirements of MBBA?
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, is that John?
Yeah, I mean, because that's the only.
Can I just run through my questions and then maybe we'll get to that part of it?
Oh, you got it. I'm a member of the
Okay,
public. Go ahead.
Okay, well, first of all, we never seen any analysis of this deal, more or less, and but what I saw in the memo was that there was $240,000 of issuance costs, bond counsel, financial advisor, and so forth. How many bond counsels are going to be on this deal? In other words, is MBBA providing for having a bond counsel, and if we're using their financial advisor, as well as the city and the city's financial advisor and bond counsel? Are there duplicate costs?
Well, MBBA has its own bond counsel. That's Harris Beach, and
Okay.
The city has its financial advisor. We are not being advised actively by a financial advisor. Mulina, are you on?
Yes, I am. So the bond counsel for MBBA is obviously Duran, and the financial advisor that was appointed for MBBA is Prague.
Okay, I guess what I'm looking for more is a breakdown of the cost of issuance for bond counsel and financial advisors. We never got that either.
Andy, this is Rick Yancey. Hey, Andy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, buddy?
Good. I could provide that to Alex. It's preliminary now. Obviously, we're still working preliminary stages of the transaction, but we have a pretty good handle on what the cost of issuance budget looks like now, and we could certainly send that to Alex to provide to the board.
Yeah. Okay. And then how was it determined that you would go with a negotiated sale as being more competitive in this market, or being more advantageous than a competitive sale in this market? How was that determined?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, similar to the joint schools credit, I mean, there's it's not a typical, general obligation debt of the city. There are certain aspects of the credit with respect to the initial state aid trust agreement that obviously have to be, worked through, and we worked the last, couple months kind of setting that state aid trust agreement up. So there's a little bit more to the credit than your typical general obligation debt, and we think given the revenue structure and it takes a little bit more explaining to investors as far as what the credit is, and it's subordinate to the joint schools credit. So it's a little bit more hand-holding than your typical general obligation issuance. So that's sort of the process that was followed obviously over the years with both the joint schools credit and the MBBA credit.
Did you guys do any market data on that, Rick?
What's that?
Are there any comparisons, versus the negotiated versus the competitive? Did you guys?
Yeah, we haven't done that on this particular credit, no.
Okay. I guess my next question is going back to not being provided any analysis, and what did you guys derive as the percentage of net present value savings on these refunding bonds? Is there a percentage?
The last number runs, Andy, from, let's look at the, it was...
I apologize to everybody for going here. Like I said, we see the resolution, but we don't see any, backup to determine whether or not it's a good deal or a bad deal.
Yeah,
in the memo, Andy, we lay out that the present value savings are currently estimated at 9%. That's what the memo has. Obviously, that's subject to change.
9%. Okay, what part of the memo is that? Did I miss that?
It's in the second page, just above proposed sources and uses. Now, again, obviously, that's subject to market.
Okay, then I apologize to everyone. I think I didn't see the 9%. What does that translate into dollars?
It's roughly 670,000 present value.
Over the life of the issue?
Yeah, so it goes to the existing final maturity, which is 2031. So this was, as Alex pointed out, as you know, Andy, the 01 deal, you were probably involved with the original deal for the teacher settlement. That was then refunded back in 2012, and then again being refunded now. So refunding of a refunding. So savings.
But for the record, I wasn't there in 2012. I was with Tom.
You weren't, but 2001, I'm talking about the original deal.
Yeah. But anyways, okay. So there's analysis of the net present value savings is like around 9%. You're saying the dollar savings over the life of the issues is somewhere over 600,000. Were those numbers ever verified by any of the staff at the MBBA?
Yes, I believe that those numbers have been shared with us, Andy.
Okay. Then I'm good.
And I just wanted to go back to the point on the competitive, which I know, you as a former official, are like competitive sales. One of the, as we spoke in, I think in January, Andy, about the inability of MBBA to be more active. One of the main problem, I would say, is the fact that but for each of these special programs that were put in place as one-offs, as this was back in the early 2000s, each time these programs were added to our legislation, there was a provision made in the legislation that allowed for the bonds to be done on a negotiated basis. Any bonds that MBBA issues that are not part of these specific amendments have to be done on a competitive basis. And one of the things that we have found is that makes it difficult to structure a lot of these deals with these complex credits. Because as mentioned, you need to do a lot of preliminary work to get to the end here. These are not sort of cookie cutter bond deals. And that's one of the things, Andy, that we have been trying unsuccessfully to change in the statute to allow us to do either competitive or negotiated. But for these bonds, we definitely have the ability to do negotiated.
Yeah, okay. I'm not adverse to that, just so you know. I'm just trying to get some background as to how we arrived at and what the savings were going to be and so forth. I don't want you to think I'm being difficult. It's just I didn't have anything to really measure against. Not that I don't understand or don't. I'm familiar with the fact that these are the lowest interest rates we've had in decades, obviously. But I just, like I said, you wanted to see the backdrop of how it was arrived at.
Andy, these are great questions. This is exactly what we want. Absolutely. Speaking of great questions, I think John Ballin was going to hit me with one.
Alex, no, I'm not on the MBA board. No, Andy, I always enjoyed and respected, and your questions are always excellent. I was just trying to help my fellow board member on the point of did the procurement satisfy the MBBA policy? And Alex, I would trust that you looked at that, and I would assume it does after hearing otherwise. But the one point I would like to make, just from a bond market perspective, I understand the desire for the sales as a general point. And without commenting on this specific transaction, I defer to, my esteemed colleagues in the bond area to make the judgments, and I would think they're right. But in a volatile interest rate environment like we currently have, with some days rates going up 8-10 basis points in a day, and the very next day, when everyone thinks it's the beginning of a trend, they go down 5. It's very important, more important than ever, to have negotiated bond sales. It's in the advantage of the issuers and the borrowers. That's it, Alex.
I agree with you 100%. That happened. SONYMA was in the market last week in the middle of the beginning of the war, John. And the decisions we had to make then could only have been made in a negotiated context. Absolutely right.
Yeah, that's it. Thank
Yep. Any other questions from the board members? Okay, I want to thank the folks from Buffalo for their assistance here. So now before the MBBA Finance and Program Committee is a resolution transmitted in connection therewith. Assuming the first and second previously recorded for the Finance Committee, all in voting in favor, please say aye. Yep, Jesse and Andy.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, the motion is carried and the resolution adopted. Now before the MBBA board for approval are resolutions that were transmitted in connection with the item. Assuming the first and seconds previously recorded, all voting in favor, please say aye. MBBA.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Okay, Alex, I finally saw the second memo. The first memo didn't have it about the present value savings, so I apologize to everybody.
Oh, no worries.
No problem. At least you're reading them, man.
That
you
Alex
can't read
Ryan
all-
is going to do it for us, I think, for MBBA. So we can do motions and seconds to adjourn and let everybody go.
Yep.
Well, not everybody.
Yep. So assuming the first and seconds previously entered for the MBBA board, all in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
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 The motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned. Our next MBBA and TSFC board meeting is scheduled for September 8th at 8:30 a.m. But in April, we are still going to have our audit committee and governance committee meeting. Those will involve MBBA. So the audit committee and governance committee for MBBA and TSFC will meet in April. But we appreciate you guys coming for this special meeting, and have a great day.
And good luck on the financing, everybody.
Yep. Hey, this is Mike Solomon from FHN. I just wanted to say hi to Andy and John, and thank you guys.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck. Hey, bye, Andy.
Bye, John. Take care, everyone.
Hi. Okay, we're gonna now shift to the HTFC agenda, and item 1 is the transcript of the meetings held on February 17th, 2022 shall be deemed approved, absent corrections from members and directors.
Yeah, and so before we go to the next item, Ruth Ann, we had waited to open up HFA and HTFC until we got Joyce. So I think Lil is listening in. Joyce asked that she be.
Wait, Alex, do we need Joyce for HTFC?
We're going to need her for some of the votes where Sadie has.
Okay, I thought we just needed her for HFA.
Yeah, no, we're going to need her for. Oh wait, hang on a second. You are right, sir. Hang on. Yeah, why don't we do HTFC?
Okay, we'll give her a minute.
And Sadie has also joined us, so we do have a quorum.
Oh, great.
Okay, so why don't we do HTFC with that?
Okay. So we'll go to item 2, resolution approving awards under the Community Development Block Grant CARES program for COVID-19 assistance in the village of Hazer. I probably have that wrong, and City of Glens Falls, and an award increase to Livingston County, and Crystal is going to present.
Good morning. It's exciting to go first. So as you know, HCR is administering $127 million in community development block grant funding made available through the CARES Act. The CARES Act funding has been made available in an open round application for a variety of activities like public facility HVAC improvements, public services for things like meal programs and Wi-Fi networks, small business assistance, and various healthy housing rehab activities. This month, the Office of Community Renewal is recommending awards totaling $4,095,000 for 3 applicants. The projects include an award to the Village of Kaiser for a package of projects including buses and bus shelters for safe public transportation, HVAC upgrades for the village's senior center, and increased capacity at 2 village parks. Second is an award to the City of Glens Falls to expand its Small Business Recovery Fund. And the third is actually an award increase for Livingston County's prior award supporting the county's Back to Business COVID Relief Fund. This brings the total awarded to date under CARES to just over $59 million. Today, the Office of Community Renewal is requesting board approval to enter into grant agreements with the Village of Kaiser, City of Glens Falls, and approval to increase the award and amend the existing grant agreement for Livingston County. I'm happy to answer any questions from members of the board.
I should also have noted that Sarah Neitzel, who runs usually the HTFC board meetings, is out on maternity leave, and so Yuting Zambuto has stepped in and will be our leader today on HTFC.
Thanks, Commissioner. Thanks, Crystal. So let's formalize the first and seconds to open the meeting too. Can we have a first and a second?
I'll move it.
Great. And the second?
Second.
Perfect. Thank you. So we'll use these first and seconds moving forward. So assuming the same first and second, all in favor of adopting this resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Motion is carried. The resolution adopted.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 3 is a resolution approving an award under the Manufactured Home Advantage Program to Ithaca Neighborhood Housing Services, and Burke Blackman is going to present. Burke, do we have you?
Madeline, are you on?
Am. And I
I
know
see Burke on
Burke
there,
is
but I
on.
can't see you. Oh, there he is. Wait.
Oh, great.
I see him there, but maybe he can't. I don't have the power to unmute.
Are you able to hear me now?
Oh,
Yes,
yes.
yes, thank goodness. Okay.
Okay. Sorry about the mix up there.
No worries.
Nope.
Jump right in, Burke.
Jesus.
Uh-oh, are we having some technical issues? I can hop in if needed.
Madeline, maybe you better, because I don't know what's going on with his audio. All right.
All right, let me see if I
Got disconnected.
what's that?
I believe he lost audio, so go ahead, Madeline.
Okay. Well, I am unfortunately not super prepared to do this, but the proposal is for an award of approximately $5.5 million from the Manufactured Home Advantage Program for the renovation of a manufactured home park in Trumansburg, New York. Ithaca NHS acquired the park, utilizing bank financing as well as a loan as funding from Enterprise. And we are proposing, I think the total development cost is in the neighborhood of $7 million. So Enterprise will also contribute about $1.5 million, and we will make a 15-year 0.5% interest only rate loan to INHS for the renovations, which will include like full infrastructure upgrades, renovations to a couple of the homes that are park owned that will be retained as rentals. The max capacity of the park will be 151 total units at the end. That's about it, all I have. I don't know if Burke was able to. That's it in a nutshell. Any questions?
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the same first and second as previously submitted, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. The resolution.
Great. Item number 4 is a resolution approving the awards for the summer 2021 9% multifamily RFP projects, and Brett Hebner is going to present. Morning, Brett.
Good morning. We're requesting the board's approval for funding for 7 projects this morning. This is a subset of the 21 projects that were conditionally awarded in December pursuant to our summer 21 9% multifamily RFP. Each of these projects was evaluated and scored per the rubric outlined in our qualified allocation plan, and each was required to meet at least one of the state's housing goals. The balance of the 21 will be presented at subsequent board meetings as they approach closing on construction financing. So of these 7 projects represent over $48 million in loan subsidies, exclusive of tax credit equity, of course, and will finance the development or preservation of 419 housing units in various regions across the state. I'll also point out that while all of the projects are required to demonstrate compliance with a high energy efficiency standard, 2 of the projects are participating in our Clean Energy Incentive Program, which is a collaborative program with NYSERDA funding our stretch sustainability goals such as passive house, all electric standards, et cetera. So we're excited about that. These are our first two 9% projects participating in that program. So I'll jump right in. The first project before the board is Steamboat Square Revitalization. This is located in Albany. It's being developed by Pearl Overlook Corporation. This project is the rehabilitation of 51 existing apartments and the creation of 37 new additional apartments for a total of 88 units. It's the first stage of a multi-phase program to enhance the Steamboat Square public housing complex, which is consistent with and supported by neighborhood planning, the City of Albany, and HUD's rental assistance demonstration program. 14 of the 51 14 of the units will be supported by Hfa subsidies for homeless individuals with a serious mental illness. $7.9 million in public housing preservation funds are requested, and the total project cost here is $32.2 million. If there are no questions on that one, I'll move on to the second, which is Port Byron Apartments. Of course, all of these are contained in your board package past the initial memo, full briefing sheets. But Port Byron Apartments is a project that consists of the redevelopment of an existing 39-unit affordable housing development into a 69-unit project. The new project, built right next door to the existing project in need of serious repairs, will include 30 new Hfa units to serve homeless populations, 25 for individuals with serious mental illness, and 5 to serve for elderly seniors. The project preserves an operational affordable housing resource in Cayuga County that has critical repair needs and expands supportive housing for a high needs underserved population. $4.2 million in supportive housing opportunity program funds and $4.4 million in federal housing trust funds are requested. The total project cost there is $27.7 million. Third on our list is Silver Lake Meadows, which is developed by Wyoming County Community Action, Inc. and Rochester's Cornerstone Group. This project will preserve a 52-unit occupied multifamily project located in the village of Perry in Wyoming County. $929,000 in federal housing trust fund is requested, and the total project cost there is $8.8 million. Questions on that one? Then next is Mount Hope Plaza, which is developed by Mount Hope Community Development Corporation. This project will newly construct 56 units of senior housing, including 20 Hfa supported units for frail elderly seniors located in the city of White Plains, Westchester County. The project is supported by the city of White Plains and Westchester County, as evidenced by the funding commitments from each. $3 million in senior housing program funds and $4.9 million in SHOP, or supportive housing opportunity program funds, are requested. The total project cost there is $30.8 million. Two more. Next is the RISE, which is Vital Brooklyn Site J, to be developed by Zenolith Partners. This is the new construction of 72 units, including 47 Hfa units for formerly incarcerated individuals and families, and 24 affordable units to the 30 to 60% area median income households. As part of the Vital Brooklyn initiative, One Brooklyn Health System will provide healthcare and support services for low-income individuals, while Women's Prison Association will provide services for justice-involved individuals in the Hfa supported units. Other community organizations will also be located on site, providing wellness programs, supportive services, job training, and placement in health classes. Project EATS will also operate an urban farm on the rooftop for tenants in the community. The project has both community board and state elected representative involvement and support. $4.1 million in federal housing trust fund and $5.2 million in SHOP and $4.4 million in housing trust fund are requested. The total project cost here is $48.5 million. Two more. Next is Harrison Place, which is developed by Citizens Advocates and 3D Development Group. This is a transformational mixed-use redevelopment of a main block of the downtown of the village of Malone in Franklin County, with 40 units of housing and a new commercial space. 20 of those units will be supported by Hfa subsidies, with 12 for homeless persons with serious mental illness and 8 for persons with a substance use disorder. The commercial space in the building will be utilized by community service organizations, an independent living center, and a fresh food market, which is something certainly needed in downtown Malone. The request here are $2.9 million in SHOP and $900,000 in Community Investment Fund. Total project cost of $21.7 million. And last but not least is the apartments at Lyceum, which is developed by Community Services for Everyone at Edgemere Development. This project is the historic preservation and adaptive reuse of a former Catholic school and community center located in Buffalo, which will create 42 units in community facility space and include 12 units for survivors of domestic violence that are supported by Hfa. The project is supported by the City of Buffalo, which is committing home funds to the project, $5.2 million in Housing Trust Fund, and $250,000 in Community Investment Fund is requested. Total project cost here is $19.9 million. So are there any questions on any of those projects?
Thank you, Brett. Now before the HTFC members.
Wait, can I just stop you for 1 second? So I noticed that CPC is listed in Mount Hope as well as Steamboat. I don't know if Joyce has joined, but I think I need to recuse myself from those two.
Joyce is going to join us when we get to item 9, Sadie, so we'll go back. Let's come back to this when Joyce joins us, okay?
No problem. So the next item we are actually deferring. So we're going to go right down, if you're following the agenda, to item number 6.
Okay. Item number 6 is a resolution approving the use of Section 8 administrative fee reserves for mobility counseling services administered by Enterprise Community Partners. And Dan Byer, live from Syracuse, will be presenting. Dan, do we have you?
Yep. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
And thanks again for letting HTFC go first, as this is an important meeting for Section 8. So glad to have a couple resolutions today. This one is a very positive development that I think the entire team is proud of. As some of you know, the agency has for many years run a mobility counseling program in Westchester County, where we have helped Section 8 households move into what we call areas of opportunity, where their kids can go to higher performing school districts. For a long time, the agency has wished to expand this effort, and we have now, I think, found both the resources and a partner to do so. Settlement funds were previously used to embark on pilot mobility programs in the Buffalo area and on Long Island, but those funds are now going away. HTFC is going to pick up the support, though, for those initiatives and hopefully continue to expand across the state over the next year, working with Enterprise Community Partners and using our Section 8 administrative fee reserve to cover the costs. The agreement we've reached with HUD will allow us to not only serve Long Island, but also other areas where our Section 8 vouchers currently are not administered. So this will benefit not only HTFC voucher holders, but potentially voucher holders of PHAs in local areas. So we're looking forward to getting started and are looking for a resolution to approve the funds and a contract that is pending. Any questions?
Now before the HTFC members is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the same first and second as previously submitted, all in favor of adopting this resolution, please say aye.
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 The resolution is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Item number 7 is a resolution approving a contract with Online Rental Exchange to provide criminal background and sex offender search services. And Dan is also going to present this one.
Great. So we have been, as you'll hear today, somewhat overhauling and streamlining our Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. We are in the process of updating and modernizing our approach to data management through a contract previously approved by the board with emphasis. As part of that, we have decided to contract directly with Online for our criminal background searches that we require of our local administrators. And this will streamline the process for conducting these federally required background checks. Currently, the local administrators have varying processes for meeting this federal requirement. This new contract will streamline that and ensure the consistency of it. Rest assured, this does not mean any additional background checks. It is merely a way to streamline and make more efficient the process that's already required.
Are there any questions on this item? So now before the HDFC members is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the same first and second as previously submitted, all in favor of adopting this resolution, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. The resolution is adopted. Thanks, Dan.
And all right, number 8 is a resolution approving an amendment to a subrecipient agreement with Sustainable Neighborhoods, who you'll remember is the entity that is running the administration of the Homeowner Assistance Fund program for us. And Amy Chan is going to present.
Good morning. So the item before you is a request to amend the sub-recipient agreement with Sustainable Neighborhoods, LLC, for the administration of the New York State Homeowner Assistance Fund. In June of last year, the board authorized HTFC to enter into a sub-recipient agreement with Sustainable Neighborhoods in an amount not to exceed $500 million for a 3-year term, with no more than 10% of the grant being used to cover costs associated with the administration of the program. Staff is requesting authorization to amend the agreement to increase the not to exceed amount from $500 million to $532 million, with administrative costs not to exceed 15% of the award. This amendment will align with Treasury's guidance, which allows up to 15% of the half award to be dedicated for administrative costs. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Amy. Now before the HTFC members is a resolution transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the same first and second as previously submitted, all in favor of adopting this resolution, please say aye.
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 Thank you. The resolution is adopted.
Great. Number 9 is a resolution approving a Section 8 housing choice voucher local administrators, and we're going back to Dan.
Great. Thank you. So this resolution is the culmination of a very long process for re-procuring the entire local administrator network for the first time in recent history. Section 8 local administrators are locally based, but unlike many other programs at HTFC, they are considered vendors and not subrecipients. And as such, we are required to re-procure them periodically. The agency undertook this effort starting a few years ago with the release of a draft RFP, where we accepted input from various stakeholders, and then working with the procurement department, legal, and many other partners, we released an actual solicitation late last year and accepted proposals. For the most part, the list of awardees represents local administrators who are already currently serving the counties that they are listed for. So this will not be a major rearrangement of the LA network ultimately. However, there are 2 areas in the Mohawk Valley, Oneida and Herkimer County, and in Nassau County where we will be changing administrators as a result of this procurement. So there will be some change there. This was a very complex procurement, among the more complicated in my time here, but a lot of people worked very hard on this, and I think the outcome is positive in many ways and will position the program for a long time to come. I'm happy to answer any questions on this process or how it came about.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. And for the members, the materials for this were submitted in the supplemental book. So they're submitted under separate cover if you need assistance in locating them. Hearing no questions, I'll take a first and I'll assume the same first and second as previously submitted. All in favor of adopting this resolution, please say aye.
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 Thank you. The motion is adopted. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 10. This is a resolution approving the 2022-2023 administrative and programmatic budget, and Stacy Mickle is going to present. Stacy?
Sorry, Stacy, to cut you off. I just want to get a formalized first and second for the audit committee.
Oh, great.
Jesse first.
Thanks.
Great, thank you. And a second?
Second. Oh, yeah, I'm not on the audit committee, sorry.
Who is on the audit committee? You?
I think we have, I'm sorry, I'm going to look this up. I'm still a little rusty here.
That's okay. I think everyone's a little rusty on the committees.
Alex, do you have the 3 members in front of you?
I'm happy to second. I just don't think I'm not sure I'm on the audit committee.
You would be as a designee for
then I second.
Adams. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Okay. Sorry, Stacey, please proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm here today to request approval of the administrative budget and programmatic budget outline for fiscal year 2022-23. As you may recall, back in December, we presented the authority's budget office submission, which was approved and submitted through the Public Authorities Reporting Information System. This particular document that I've submitted today is a little bit more detailed than what was submitted last year in December. And it includes information that was unavailable at the time because the executive budget for New York State was not available until January. For this upcoming fiscal year, we are estimating a total administrative budget of $57.5 million, which is about a 2.45% increase over last year's. The increase is largely due to anticipated increase in personal services expenditures as a result of all of the new funding coming our way, both through federal and state funding. These obviously require additional staffing to be able to make sure we can put these programs out on the street in a timely manner. We are expecting a slight decrease in some of the MPS expenditures, which is largely due to some larger contracts that we had that have spent down, and they were one-time contracts, so they're anticipating having ongoing expenses. We are anticipating a total of 108 regular HTSC staff, which is an increase of about 9 positions from last fiscal year. I do want to mention that this budget does not specifically outline details on the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery, as their administrative expenses are included in the overall programmatic funding that they receive from the various disaster recovery programs. Right now, the budget is based on an anticipated 10 months of our PBCA fee income, which is our current source of unrestricted revenue for the program. We're only anticipating 10 months as that contract is currently set to expire at the end of January of 2023. At this time, we haven't really heard from HUD as to whether or not they will be issuing an RFP for the continued operations of the PBCA program, so there is a possibility that that contract will extend again. But obviously, for the purposes of this budget, we need to assume that that contract does terminate at the end of January. Right now, we are also anticipating some additional revenue for our administrative expenses coming from our various federal programs that we do administer, HOME, our CDBG program, the HCB program, and then funding through the American Recovery Act and the CARES Act funding that we were awarded last year. The amount of that revenue is estimated as we don't really know the actual and exact amount of what that revenue will look like until we have the actual expenditures to receive the reimbursement for those programs. In addition to the administrative budget that's prepared here, we also include an outline of the anticipated programmatic funding that HTFC will be responsible for. We assume HTFC will be responsible for this upcoming fiscal year. As I mentioned, is based on the anticipated or the current executive budget that is what is available to us right now. We are currently expecting consistent levels of funding for our core programs, such as HTF, our Restore, Access, all of those that you see on a regular basis. There is currently in the budget $32 million in local assistance and $77 million in capital funding for the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery. There's also a $2 million budget for fair housing testing and another $250,000 for a fair chance credit check program. We are anticipating that those funds may come to the trust fund to administer, which is why they're presented here. There's also an additional $5 million for the Mobile Home Advantage program and $4.5 billion in housing plan funds, a portion of which we're expecting to see through the trust fund. We're also reflecting anticipated federal funding, which, just so you are aware, is based on the federal fiscal year, which is October 1 to September 30th. So it overlaps, obviously the state fiscal year. And at this time, we don't know what the regular CDBG and home and HCD programs will be starting October 1 of 2022. That covers the summary of the document that I presented to you, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions you might have at this time.
Are there any questions? Now before the HTFC members and the HTFC Audit Committee is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the same first and seconds as previously submitted, all in favor of adopting these resolutions, please say aye.
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 Thank you. The motion is adopted.
Great. Thank you, Stacy. Item 11 is a resolution amending the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery internal audit plan. And I was going to take a second before we did that to just introduce you to the new Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery, Katie Brennan, who just popped up there on screen for those who are looking. As you'll recall, last month's meeting, we approved Katie to be able to actually sign documents as the Executive Director, but I thought we didn't get a chance to do it then. I had mentioned back then that Katie joins us from New York City's Mayor's Office, where she was a senior advisor to Deputy Mayor of Housing and Economic Development, Vicky Bean. And prior to that, she served as the Chief of Staff at the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency, our sort of sister counterpart over there in New Jersey. So I just wanted to give Katie a chance to say hi and for us to welcome her.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I started mid-January and it's been a wonderful month and a half so far. And so thank you to Ruth Ann and everybody for your confidence and bringing me on board at this interesting time for GOSER as Sandy wraps up and we look to what the future state of GOSER is. And I look forward to working with you all in the future.
Great. Thank you, Katie. And for the internal audit plan, I think Nanika is going to present. Is that right? Okay.
Yes. Good morning.
Hi.
So yes, this is per an HTFC board resolution in October 2014. GOSER's internal audit department was required to report to the HTFC board for functional matters and to GOSER's executive director for administrative matters. After the departure of GOSER's executive director, this function ultimately shifted to GOSER's acting general counsel. GOSER is now seeking to change the reporting line from GOSER's acting general counsel back to the new executive director, Catherine Brennan.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Now before the HTFC members and HTFC Audit Committee is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the same first and seconds as previously submitted, all in favor of adopting this resolution, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. The resolution is adopted.
Thank you. All right. So the remaining items on the HTFC agenda are informational items and no discussion is needed unless the member so requests. So with that, we are going to transition to the Hfa SONYMA AHC agenda. Alex, do we need to open up HFA with Joyce or?
Not yet. We're going to wait until I think HFA is open since HTFC was open. So they're the same agency. So
got it.
We're ready to go.
So we are going to move to the items requiring mortgage insurance committee action. Item 3 is a resolution of the SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee approving a $650,000 increase on a $2,150,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for the 387 Main Street project in Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County.
Good morning.
Sorry, Mike is going to present. Sorry, Mike.
Good morning. The $2,150,000 CPC loan was approved by the MIC 2 years ago. There were substantial cost overruns, although the building is now complete and substantially rented up. Debt service will increase from $201,600 to $168,000, an almost $34,000 increase. But the actual rents are $53,000 higher than we projected them to be 2 years ago. So the income to expense ratio will only decline from a projected 1.14 to an actual 1.13. The new insured loan amount is 127,000 per unit, which equals 55% of the new development cost of 232,000 per unit. And the project would break even with a 13% residential vacancy rate, with all of the commercial space vacant, or a 32% increase in the operating expenses. Thank you.
Any questions?
Okay. Yep. So if there are no questions, I'm going to now before the Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee only is a resolution transmitted in connection with the item. Assuming the first and second is previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great. Thank you. So thank you, Mike. Now we're going to stay here, right? We're going to.
Sorry.
Oh.
I said aye as well. I was on mute. I'm sorry.
Oh, cool. Thank you. We'll take it.
Thank you, John.
Now we move to the items shared by Sunny Mae and by its Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee. Item number 4 is a resolution of the Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee and of the Sunny Mae Board approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $16,600,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for the John Cam Malt House project in Buffalo, Erie County. And Mike is going to present on this as well.
This project comprises the historic rehab of a former brewery into 80 workforce housing units and 40,000 square feet of commercial space. Although there are no income restrictions, the projected rents will range between 87 and 119% of the Syracuse AMI. In addition to the $16.6 million CPC first mortgage loan, there's $6.5 million of federal historic tax credits. There's a $400,000 NYSERDA grant and a 15-year 485 real estate tax abatement. The insured loan amount is $207,500 per unit and equals 58% of the project's total development cost of $359,000 per unit. The project would have a pro forma increase of 22% in the vacancy and collection loss to break even, a 55% increase in operating expenses, and it breaks even with 65% of the commercial space vacant. Thank you.
Okay, any questions?
I have a question.
All right.
This is Elaine. So I find using our new tool that this was an area that was gentrifying. Can you speak to that?
It's an area that is now it's in the Black Rock district on the east side of Buffalo, and the neighborhood is now primarily commercial. So it's being gentrified, but it's not going to result in displacement of existing tenants. There are very few existing tenants. It's a commercial neighborhood.
I see. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, now before the Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee is a resolution transmitted in connection with the item. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee, all in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted. Now before the Sunny Mae Board is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with the item. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for the Sunny Mae Board, all in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great. Now we're going to move to item 5, which is a resolution of the Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee and the Sunny Mae Board approving a $55 million top loss insurance on a $621 million 35-year FHA insured mortgage loan, which will be used to refinance an existing Sunny Mae insured Wells Fargo loan of the same amount in force since 2012 for the Co-op City project in the Bronx County. Mike?
This loan is intended to refinance a 10-year-old 35-year Wells Fargo mortgage. that mortgage had a one-time provision which enabled the borrower to request an increase back to the original principal amount of the mortgage. The loan has been paid down over the intervening 10 years to $499 million. By going back up to the original $621.5 million loan and extending the maturity for an additional 10 years, there are two benefits to this. First of all, the affordability of Co-op City is extended for an additional 10 years. The affordability is embedded in the Wells Fargo loan documents. The existing loan only has 20 years remaining. The new loan will be, only has 25 years remaining. The new loan will be for 35 years. So it'll extend affordability for 10 years. It will also enable Co-op City to pay off the existing mortgage loan, fund $15 million in immediate repairs, largely local law 11 repairs to the facade and the balconies, and fund $109 million repair and replacement reserve for repairs and replacements over the next 10 years that were identified in a recent P&A. The insured loan amount is $41,400 per unit, and the insured liability is only $3,700 per unit. Over the all of our portfolio of 56,000 loans, exclusive of the existing Co-op City loan, our average loan amount is $70,000 per unit. This loan is only $41,000 per unit. And our average liability amount is about $70,000 per unit. Here, the average the liability amount is only $3,700 per unit. So it's a very efficient use of the mortgage insurance fund's insurance reserves. Thank you.
Great. Any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah, I'm curious about something, Mike. What are so is there a regulatory agreement here?
It's a limited equity Mitchell-Lama co-op. So it's supervised by DHCR because it's a Mitchell-Lama.
Okay, it sounds like a great project and a great refinancing to accomplish all of those goals with the reserves and the improvements, and it sounds well managed. So when we're being asked to do what is our role? We're being asked to extend the insurance?
Yes. Wells Fargo's loan is making a new loan, which will have a 10-year longer maturity, and our insurance will run an additional 10 years.
Okay. Do we get a fee for that, or is that just something we do to accommodate?
We get 50 basis points per annum on the $55 million.
The 55 being which amount now?
That is our top loss of the $621.5 million.
Right. And is that customary and in accordance with practices?
This is highly unusual. Usually, we insure 100% of a loan, which is sold to either the state or the city pension fund. So this is somewhat anomalous for us.
Okay. Well, it's a great, an incredible project on so many levels. And it's great that you can, that we can help them refinance, because there's a lot of instability in housing, and that's terrific. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. It's great. We're excited about this one. Any other questions?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Alex. I think we're
Now before the Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee is a resolution transmitted in connection with the item, assuming the first and second is previously entered for the Mortgage Insurance Committee. All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried. The resolution adopted. Now before the Sunny Mae Board is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item, assuming the first and second is previously entered for the Sunny Mae Board. All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
okay. Now we are going to go to the Sunny Mae only items. So item 6 is a resolution approving the estimated excess balance in the mortgage insurance fund, and Mike is going to keep going and present this one.
The estimated excess balance is $34 million, and this is due primarily to a 55% increase in surtax receipts as compared with last year. We received $19 million in January and $25 million in February. A more typical month is $13 or $14 million. We did a lot of new commitments this year, which requires a use of surtax, but we had virtually no new claims. So the combination of increased surtax revenue and the vast reduction in new claims gives us projected $34 million in excess balance as compared with $0 last year.
Alex, let's do it.
Well, that's a good insurance company business, Mike.
Yeah.
Money and no claims. So now before the Sunny Mae Board is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and second is previously entered for the Sunny Mae Board, all in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Alex, why do we have to approve estimate of what's in a fund based on a presentation by staff?
Because the drafters of the Sunny Mae legislation way back in 1970 put it in the statute that you have to approve both the estimate and then come back for the final. Hey, blame it on the lawyers, John.
Well, that's usually the problem. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
It does seem a little quirky. Okay, moving on to item 7. Materials in connection with this item were sent to the Sunny Mae board members by separate cover, as the item relates to the yearly Department of Financial Services audit of Sunny Mae required under the Sunny Mae statute, as to which DFS requires confidentiality of its report. So this is a resolution approving the DFS Sunny Mae audit for the period ending October 31, 2020, and Hanim is going to present.
Good morning, everyone. Annual audit of Sunny Mae operations were performed by Department of Financial Services. The summary of the report is that they audited several parts of the Sunny Mae operations: the financial condition, internal control and audit, legal and regulatory compliance, management, system and technology. The average scoring was identical to last year, so most of the operations received satisfactory degree. The responses provided by management corrected some of their observations, so we expect no further collaboration regarding this period of examination, and as usual, we will expect their review for next period, coming summer and fall.
Any questions?
Okay, so thank you, Hanim. This was Hanim's first audit with the agency, with DFS, and she did a great job. Now before the SONYMA board is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for the SONYMA board, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Okay, now we're going to move to the item requiring Mortgage Insurance Committee, HFA Finance, and Program Committee, and HFA members' actions. This item was included in last month's agenda, but deferred to this meeting. So item 8A is a resolution of the SONYMA Mortgage Insurance Committee approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $4,780,000 HFA permanent first mortgage loan for Olbiston Apartments, Utica, Oneida County, a beautiful building if you happen to see the pictures. And 8B, resolutions of the HFA Finance and Program Committee and the HFA members recommending and authorizing an amount not to exceed $41,070,000 of fixed and or variable rate tax exempt and or taxable bonds, and an amount not to exceed $16,500,000 in HFA subsidy funds for Olbiston Apartments, Utica, Oneida County. Mike Friedman is going to present for SONYMA, and Russell Hubley will present for HFA.
I will be brief, as Russell will present this in greater detail. This project comprises very substantial rehabilitation of 153 units. The project will preserve both moderate and low-income housing. The insured loan amount is $31,200 per unit, which equals only 7% of the project's total development cost of $443,000 per unit. There's a myriad of subsidy sources financing this project, and the project will break even with a 10% vacancy rate or a 7% increase in operating expenses. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Mike. Russell?
Yes.
Yep.
Great, thanks. Okay, I'm sure Chairman Adams would probably have a lot to say about this one, so I'll do my best to live up to his standard, but I'm probably going to fall a little short.
Hello?
Just a little bit of background.
So they're just wrapping up the previous.
Oh, this is, I think we have Joyce maybe joining us.
9 and 14. So 8 is just wrapping up. I'm going to transfer you into the call, into the meeting, okay?
No, that's okay. I turned it on. I'm on it.
Oh, you are? Great, great.
Lil, we can hear you.
Bye-bye.
Sorry, Lil. Sorry, Russell,
Hey,
keep going.
Sure. Welcome, Joyce. So just a little bit of background on the Olbiston. It's quite a story. It's located just a mile southwest of downtown Utica City Center. It's got quite a history. It was originally built in 1898 as apartments for the upper class. It was the type of apartment building that became a trend in the late 19th century. You see a lot of these types of buildings more often in New York City, in Manhattan's Upper West Side, or the Chelsea Hotel, for example. You don't typically expect to see one of these buildings in the middle of Utica. In fact, the building was the largest apartment building of its type in upstate New York, all the way to Buffalo when it first opened in 1898. It was designed in the architectural style that was popular at the time for this type of thing, very ornate, done up in the Romanesque style with rounded arches, thick walls, buttresses and sculptures, cast iron stair railings, and marble floors. Now, fast forward through the decades up to the 1970s, and with the economic decline and the loss of manufacturing industry for many upstate New York cities, including Utica, the neighborhood of the Olbiston outside of downtown was transformed over time to what it is now, primarily a low-income workforce population. The Olbiston is an unregulated apartment building. It went through a long period of deterioration. Moving up into the 21st century, the owner that took over the building in 2010 wound up doing virtually nothing to fix the building. In fact, it was so bad the city of Utica sued the owner for negligence. It's a case that is still open in the New York State Supreme Court. So the city was very desperate to get this building out of that owner's hands. The roof had begun to crumble. They lost the top 2 floors to residency. Eventually, everything came to a head last July when the city inspection revealed even worse damage they thought. Roof damage was severe. Water leakage went through the building and damaged part of the fire alarm system. The city had ordered the evacuation of all remaining tenants. There were about 58 families that were still living there, and they had to shut the place down. The city coordinated the relocation of those families through the fall of last year, and by October, all the former residents had found new residency. The city found a buyer of the building, Liberty Affordable. They're a nonprofit community housing development organization. Sole focus is affordable housing upstate. They've worked on several projects with the agency, including distressed properties as well. At the same time that Liberty got involved with the idea, in order to try to make this whole transaction work, the mayor of Utica personally appealed to the agency, I believe in a series of daily calls to the commissioner, if I'm not exaggerating, to see if we could help in financing this project. The agency's positive response to this and the city resulted in the developer being able to do two very important things. They were able, one, to secure insurance on the building, and it gave the city the comfort to issue them a $3 million grant in order for Liberty to purchase the building from the slumlord. This happened all last December, and so now we're here with this proposal to address the needed renovations and replacement of virtually all the major building systems, also maintaining the historical aesthetic of the building. The extent of the energy efficiency measures of this preservation and restoration will go so far as to actually meet requirements that we have for new construction projects. The project will meet not one, not two, but three of our energy efficiency program standards in that regard. In addition to the repairs and the energy efficiency, the building will be modernized to meet handicap accessible and visitability standards. Residential units will be fitted with new appliances, flooring, tiling, all the things that go into modernizing an affordable housing unit. The original marble floors and decorative wood trim will be maintained and restored. The project will also meet several of HFA's priorities, including local housing needs, helping to prevent and end homelessness and support vulnerable populations, particularly those 58 families that were displaced when the building was condemned, as well as preserving housing and promoting community revitalization. The agency has had considerable investment in downtown Utica area over the past 20 years. About 425 units of affordable housing have been created or preserved. It's a top priority for the mayor and the city, of course. They're aligned with the city's consolidated and annual action plans, where they evidence a continual need for affordable housing in the area. Going one step even further, the Olbiston is also the catalyst of a new City of Utica program designed to address affordable housing and neighborhood revitalization that was announced last October, called the Utica Prosperity Initiative. And lastly, HFA will be aiding in the preservation of this 100% affordable housing project by executing a 40-year regulatory agreement on the building. Thank you.
Thank you, Russell. Any questions?
Not a question, it's a comment. On this project, I see you have a section, which is not on all the projects, that actually it's a checkoff box that says the programs, the priorities that you are addressing with this particular project. So it checks off specific local housing needs, prevent homelessness, preserve housing, something like that. That kind of a system would be good to have with all of the projects. And you have a similar thing for the environmental, so several checkoff boxes.
I think that's our standard format, Thebia, right?
Yeah,
we always have those check boxes in the board memos for HFA deals.
Okay, so just for the HFA, because I don't see it in the next one. I haven't seen it routinely.
It may be a format issue by program type, but let's look at it when we get to the next one. Okay, fair enough. It is our standard, but I appreciate you saying it's helpful because we want to make sure we are presenting information that's sort of easy to consume. So appreciate that.
Yeah, I think the Olbiston is the only HFA that we're presenting today. The other ones may be just SONYMA, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. But we can change our format to be more consistent also if it's, we can take a look at that.
I think it's helpful. Thank you.
Great.
This is Avidan. I don't have a question either, more of a comment. First to to Russell, great presentation. I'm sure the chairman would be very proud and would approve of that presentation. This is a fantastic project. I mean, just a tremendous building. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the group does to restore this building, and it's absolutely great that it will serve the needs of the community in Utica. Again, I'm really enthusiastic about this project, given what I heard today and what I read. So kudos on this one.
Thank you. It's a good one. All right, Alex.
Okay, so now before the Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee is a resolution transmitted in connection with the item. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for the committee, all in favor say aye.
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 The motion is carried. The resolution adopted. Now before the HFA members and the HFA Finance and Program Committee are resolutions to be adopted that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for HFA and for the Finance Committee, all in favor please say aye.
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 Oops.
The motions are carried and the resolution adopted. Ruthann, I just wanted to jump in here before we move away from the HFA project. At the last board meeting, one of the affordable items that got approved was the park project, and we inadvertently did not include the series resolution, one of the legal financing documents, in the supplemental book that was transmitted. The item is included in the supplemental book that was transmitted in connection with this board meeting. And I just wanted to note for the record that I'm assuming the board has no issues with the series resolution included in that as part of that transaction. And I'm going to add it as being voted on at this meeting so that it got picked up. I'm assuming the HFA board is okay with that. It was a project that was approved. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Ruthann, let's go to the next one.
Okay, item 9. The next two items require Mortgage Insurance Committee and HFA member action. So item 9A is a resolution of the Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $2,500,000 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for the Monroe Building Project in Buffalo, Erie County. And 9B is a resolution authorizing a small building program loan in an amount not to exceed $850,000 for the Monroe Project in Buffalo, Erie County. And Mike is going to present.
Okay. Because there is an HFA subordinate loan on this project, I'll be brief. This project comprises the historic readaptation of a commercial building into 17 units and 5 commercial spaces. All of the units are restricted to an average of 80% of the Buffalo AMI, although individual tenants cannot earn more than 120% of the AMI. The insured loan amount is $147,000 per unit, which equals 35% of the project's total development cost of $426,000 per unit. And the project would break even with a 20% pro forma vacancy rate, a 31% increase in operating expenses, and it breaks even with 35% of the commercial space vacant. Thank you.
And is Madeline presenting this on the HFA side?
Yes.
Great. Hi.
Yeah. Hi. And it just to follow up on the comment regarding the checklist items, as a matter of course, we do include those also in these projects. So if you check our memo, we did sort of address, we do keep that checklist going because I do think it is a useful tool. So as Mike said, this is an adaptive reuse project, very centrally located in the city of Buffalo. Is about 28,000 total square feet, 12,000 of which is commercial space. There will be 17 new affordable units, 14 one-bedrooms and 3 two-bedrooms. The total small building subsidy loan requested is $850,000, which is $50,000 per unit. And again, the average affordability will be 80% AMI. The project includes a number of energy conservation features, including heat pumps, a solar array, environmentally sensitive materials, and things like that. The total development cost is just over $7.2 million, and some of the other sources being utilized are historic tax credits, Better Buffalo loan funds, a grant from National Grid, and then there will be a tax abatement anticipated at the end. The development team is a group of developer investors, including one team member named Jason Yachts and his team at an organization called the Preservation Studios, which is involved with a lot of historic tax credit work across the state. So they have a lot of knowledge about the work that they're undertaking here. All the other team members, the general contractor, the architect are all local. The management company will be affiliated with the developer. They've assembled a great local team with a lot of experience at adding value to adaptive reuse projects. So it's exciting. The project is located really centrally between the Cold Spring, Hamlin Park neighborhoods on the east, and the Linwood and Elmwood neighborhoods to the west. It's just south of Delaware Park and Forest Lawn Cemetery, so it has good green space access. It also has really central access to the local colleges, healthcare, transportation services, the subway stop, as well as like walking distance to other kinds of community amenities. They've already acquired the project, and they're very excited about moving forward. We just got all the final seeker items sorted out I think yesterday, so we're looking forward to moving the project ahead.
Thanks, Madeline.
Thanks.
Excuse me.
I'm going to have to recuse myself. I just wanted to let you know.
Thanks, Sadie.
Yep,
sorry, Elaine.
we got it.
So we're on 9A, correct? The Monroe Buffalo?
9A and B.
Yes.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah. So could you point out where the checkbox is? Because I don't see it. I'm looking in the, I think
Sure.
looking once again.
In the memo, are you looking at the memo for the small buildings?
It would be
program?
the 9B memo, not
The
9A.
the 9B memo. And it starts basically at the very bottom of the first page of the memo through the second page.
Okay, so not 9A.
9B, correct.
Right. The same project, but that information lives in the subsidy memo, not the insurance memo, right?
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay, so now before the Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee is a resolution transmitted in connection with the item. Assuming the first and second is previously entered for the committee, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Motion is carried. The resolution adopted. As we noted, Sadie will be recusing herself here. So now before the HFA members is a resolution to be adopted, transmitted in connection with this item. So this will be voted on by Judge Sconiers, B, Jesse, Joyce, Chris, who has joined us, Chris, and Ruth Ann to get our 6. So assuming the first and second is previously entered for HFA, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great. Item number 10, 10A, resolution of the Sunny Mae Mortgage Insurance Committee approving 100% mortgage insurance.
That's being deferred. Item 10 is being deferred with that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Item 11. The next item requires Sunny Mae and HFA action. Item 11 is a resolution authorizing an amendment to the agency's lease with First Lexington Corporation in connection with the lease of the agency's offices at 641 Lex, and Betsy Mallow is going to present.
Betsy, you're on mute.
Thank you. It's only been 2 years. You'd think I'd figure out WebEx. Good morning. I'm joined this morning, the gentleman who you face you don't recognize on the screen is Mike Phillip, who are outside counsel on this matter from Venable, and Lauren McGill, who you know is here as well. We have been working together very closely over the past number of years on this item. So I will do my best to present quickly, and then should there be additional questions, any of us are available to answer them. As some of you know, we renovated this beautiful space we're sitting in at 641 and moved in October of 2019. For those of you who were on the board at the time, you might remember that we actually, as an agency, have 2 leases for this space. One is held by Hfa SONYMA and the other by the Office of General Services, or OGS, on behalf of the DHCR portion of the agency. You may also remember, or for those who are new, as some context, one of the reasons that this space was chosen and was economically more attractive than alternatives that we looked at was that our landlord, Rudin, was willing to form a leasehold condominium structure to enable us to take advantage of our tax-exempt status and secure real estate tax exemption for the office space, and help us to realize somewhere on the order of $50 million, and that's an estimate, of savings over the 30-year term. So the formation of this leasehold condominium structure by Rudin requires approval of the AG, and also the agency's real estate tax exemption requires approval by the New York City Department of Finance. In addition, the condominium documents require the approval of Rudin's lender and also the consent of OGS as stipulated in the OGS lease. OGS and the operations team for the prior governor and for Governor Hochul have been wonderful partners from the outset of our search for new space. They were incredibly helpful in helping us to achieve our goal of co-location, and also have been really wonderful partners as we pursued this leasehold condominium structure. That said, OGS required assurance at the outset that the imposition of a leasehold condominium regime would not have unintended adverse consequences for OGS. And so the OGS lease gives OGS the right to terminate their lease if the leasehold condominium documents, which at the time where we signed our leases, we hadn't drafted these documents yet. So they have the right to terminate their lease if, once those documents were drafted, they conflicted in any way with the OGS lease or applicable law, or they didn't apply to all the tenants of the building. So now that we've drafted the documents, now the documents are drafted, OGS has reviewed them and acknowledged that there is no conflict, but they still have that right to terminate in their lease, and amending that would be quite complicated. So Rudin has consistently expressed concern about this provision of the lease, and in order to insulate them from the risk of termination of OGS, and therefore to incent them to continue with the establishment of the condominium, which would obviously be a huge savings for us. The agencies are agreeing to assume the OGS lease if and only if the following 3 things happen. 1, after the condo docs are filed with the Attorney General or OSC, after they are filed, either the Attorney General or OSC rejects the related lease amendment, and OGS provides the necessary notice to Rudin and to us to withdraw the request for the approval of a condominium, but we still pursue it for some reason, and as a result, OGS gives notice that it terminates the lease. Now, I want to be really clear that this is a scenario that would never happen, because if the condo docs were to be filed and somehow OGS and rejected, and somehow OGS told us to pull the condominium application, we would do just that, and we would revert back to the current lease that we have for 20 years, and we would just not form the leasehold condo. So given that said, given that the pandemic, and given that this has been a more complicated negotiation than was initially anticipated, we need to do 2 things in order to get over the finish line here. One is to reset the time frame for securing approval of the condo, of the leasehold condo, and this is where we need Rudin's action. We had originally stipulated in the documents that we would have 18 months to secure the condo formation, and obviously we're well past 18 months. And the second is that we are going to modify the lease to address the concerns about the perceived risk. So that said, what we're here this morning to ask for is approval to enter into an agreement with First Lexington Corp., which is controlled by Rudin Management, to modify the terms of the section of the lease related to the condominium formation in order to do the two things I just said. One, resetting the time frame for securing the consents and forming the leasehold condo, and two, clarifying the process of pursuing and obtaining necessary approvals, and three, agreeing that the agencies would assume, that the HFA SONYMA would assume the OGS lease solely under the circumstances previously described. So with that, I'm going to be quiet and see if there are any questions.
Okay, if there are no questions, now before the HFA members is a resolution to be adopted that was transmitted in connection with this item, assuming the first and seconds previously entered for HFA. All in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried, the resolution adopted. Now before the SONYMA directors is a resolution transmitted in connection with this item, assuming the first and seconds previously entered for SONYMA. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, the motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great, thank you. Sorry, I was on mute, but I was saying aye also. Now we are going to take up an item, that was sent to the boards via separate cover and was not included in the original agenda for today's meeting. The item is a resolution approving an amendment to the cybersecurity contract with SecureWorks, and Tom Booty, who has joined us, is going to present. Tom?
Good morning, everybody. Over the course of the last year, the agency has made great strides in implementing a stronger cybersecurity posture by working with SecureWorks and other security and network partners. Due to the current worldwide cybersecurity concerns, the agency is looking to further bolster its cybersecurity posture by adding additional SecureWorks offerings that will proactively search for nefarious threat actor and threat actor indicators. The first add-on is MXDR Elite subscription, which provides continuous trending targeted threat hunting throughout the month and upon the agency's request. In addition, the MXDR Elite service is available to the agency on a 24/7 basis. The cost for the MXDR Elite subscription is approximately $38,000 for the year. The second SecureWorks add-on, which we are recommending, is SecureWorks Enterprise Brand Surveillance Information Brief Service, also called EBS, where SecureWorks will perform deep dark web searches on a quarterly basis for the agency. Deep dark web searches can reveal illegal activities concerning stolen bank accounts and records, stolen network account credentials, hijacked email accounts, etc. The cost for the 4 EBS searches is approximately $46,000 for the year. In brief, we are requesting the board to increase the cost under the contract with SecureWorks by $85,000 for the two SecureWorks add-ons. Thank you.
Any questions?
Okay, so now before the HFA and SONYMA boards are resolutions that were transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and seconds previously recorded for HFA, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Wow, that was enthusiastic. And assuming the first and seconds previously recorded for SONYMA, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. The motions are carried and the resolution is adopted.
Alex, could I just mention one thing? I apologize for interrupting, but I just want to commend Tom and the team, a relatively small team, for all the work that they have been doing over the past year. We're obviously not going to go into massive detail about it, given the subject matter, but they have done a really fabulous job in, as he said, substantially increasing our cybersecurity posture. So I want to publicly thank him for those efforts.
Thank you.
Great.
Noted.
Here. Okay, so we are, stay on my page. The next two items are information items. Item 12 is the MIF February activity report, and item 13 is the current agency procurement contracts in the lobbying restricted period. There being no further business for the Sunny May board, Alex will now ask for motions and seconds to adjourn the Sunny May meeting.
Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for Sunny May, all in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. The resolution is that the meeting is adjourned. Our next Sunny May board meeting is scheduled for Thursday, April 14th at 8:30 a.m.
Great. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. The next item is an HFA action item. The item was presented at our last meeting, but it was not voted on because we didn't have a quorum. So the materials are again in the board book, and unless board members so request, we will move to the vote since we presented it last month. We just didn't vote. And that is item 14, a resolution authorizing a small building program loan in an amount not to exceed $3 million for 28 to 40 Columbus Avenue in Spring Valley, Rockland County.
And this is another item where Sadie will be recusing herself. So now before the HFA members is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. And again, as I did before, the votes that we're having here for HFA are coming from Judge Sconiers, from B. Gonzalez, from Jesse, from Joyce, Chris Curtis, and from Ruth Ann, our requisite 6. So assuming the first and seconds previously entered for HFA, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted. Joyce, I know you're not feeling well, so I think we're okay for the remainder of the meeting. Lauren looks panicky.
No, I just, did we pick up use item before the HTFC item?
Oh.
We do. Thank you,
Oh,
Lauren.
I'm sorry. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that.
So Joyce, apologies. Before you go, Sadie has recused herself from item number 4 on the HTFC agenda. This is 7 projects that are being awarded under the competitive 9% low-income housing tax credit program. And these are 7 projects that are all receiving various subsidies. So this was presented before. I know Brett is still on the line if you have any questions, but we wanted to make sure we formalize this vote.
No, that's okay.
Thank you very much. So can we have first and seconds for, actually our first and seconds are fine. Sadie, were you the second? Assuming, okay, so maybe we'll take new first and seconds for this vote. For HTFC?
B. Gonzalez.
Great, thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. And all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion is carried. I also just want to wrap it up by asking, is Chris Curtis still on the line?
I am.
Yes. Chris, if you wouldn't mind, we'd like to ask you to be the second on the HTFC Audit Committee.
Sure, I'll be second.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone.
Great.
All right, Joyce, you're good.
Thank you, Joyce. Feel better.
Hey, thank you. Sorry, I can't participate any further.
No, it's okay. We understand. Now we move to the items requiring HFA member and HFA Finance and Program Committee approval. So item 15 is an adoption of resolution authorizing the refunding of affordable housing revenue bonds in an amount not to exceed $177 million. And Mialina is going to present.
Hi, good morning. Similar to what we did in 2019 and 2020 in trying to take advantage of the low interest rate environment, we have identified several series of bonds under the Affordable Housing Revenue Bond Resolution that could be refunded to generate present value savings. And that would help strengthen the indenture and be in excess of the required savings threshold. Essentially, this is an economic refunding. It is expected that the refunding bonds would be issued as fixed-rate bonds with a rating provided by Moody's. The request is for the board to adopt bond resolutions to provide us with the authorization to issue one or more series of refunding bonds to refund several outstanding series of bonds in an amount not to exceed $177 million. I'm open to any questions.
So now before the HFA members and the HFA Finance and Program Committees are resolutions to be adopted that were transmitted in connection with the item. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for HFA, all in favor, please say aye.
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 The motion is carried and the resolution adopted. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for the Finance Committee, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Great. All right, item 16, we have a resolution authorizing the approval of the amended and restated resolutions incorporating certain changes with respect to the terms of the outstanding bonds in the aggregate amount of $320 million to be remarketed and directly purchased by Barclays or a wholly owned subsidiary thereof for related 42nd and 10th Street, City of New York, New York County, and Melina is going to present this as well.
Hello again. So this is the refinancing of the related 42nd and 10th Street project, also known as the MIMA. It's an existing 80/20 that was originally approved by the board in November of 2007 to finance a new construction of a multifamily rental building located at 450 West 42nd Street, New York City. The borrowing entity is controlled by Related. The project consists of a 57-story building with a base supporting 2 towers. The first tower contains 590 units, of which 130 are affordable for households with income at or below 50% of AMI. Of the 130 affordable units, 20 units are rented to households with income at or below 40% of AMI. The second tower contains a total of 33 units, all of which are affordable for households with income at or below 60% of AMI, and 5 of those 33 units are rented to households at 40% of AMI. Although the project construction began in 2007 during the start of the financial meltdown, the project completed construction 4 years later in 2011 and is currently 99.3% leased. The project is a LEED Gold building that was initially 20% more energy efficient. Related had recently engaged Carbon Lighthouse to do an assessment to find ways that they can improve the building's performance. The bonds were issued as variable rate demand bond obligation bonds and were publicly offered in 2007, 2008, and 2010 in an aggregate amount of $350 million, and it was credit enhanced by Hfa Bank. The project completed construction in 2011, and at that time, Hfa letter credit was replaced with a credit enhancement provided by Freddie Mac, and the borrower is looking to refinance the loan and implement a mode change into the direct purchase mode at this time. In addition, Related will pay interest only on the bonds for a period of 12 years and has agreed to extend the term of the regulatory agreement by an additional 5 years from its current expiration. The request is for the board to adopt bond resolutions to incorporate the terms and provisions of the private placement mode, whereby Barclays Bank will purchase all the outstanding bonds, which will be backed by Barclays letter of credit for a term of 5 years. Any questions?
Okay. Now, for the HFA members and the Finance and Program Committee are the resolutions that were transmitted in connection with the item. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for HFA, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. The resolution adopted. Assuming the first and seconds for the HFA Finance and Program Committee, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Okay, so now we move to our last item, 1028, not too bad. Item 18, resolution authorizing award grant funds for certain projects. This is an AHC consent item.
Hang on. Did we do, I think we need to do Wells Fargo. Did we do Wells Fargo?
Did we do Wells Fargo? I'm not sure what that means.
Item 17.
Yeah, Melina, we didn't do that yet, right?
Nope, not yet.
Oh, sorry, I jumped ahead. Not quite done.
Yep.
Sorry, take it back. All right, item 17, resolution authorizing the issuance of refunding bonds for the purpose of refinancing outstanding tax-exempt bonds in an estimated amount of $164,500,000 to be directly purchased by Wells Fargo Bank or a wholly owned subsidiary thereof for 55 West 25th Street, City of New York, New York County. Sorry about that, Melina. Let's do this one.
No worries. Well, this is very similar to the MIMA transaction, but this is for 55 West 25th Street, also known as Chelsea Landmark. It's also refinancing of an existing 80/20 that was approved by the board in July 28th, 2005, to finance the new construction of a multifamily rental building in New York City. The borrower's Marine Estates, and the project consists of a 36-story building and contains 407 units, of which 83 units are affordable for households and incomes at or below 50% of AMI. And of the 83 affordable units, 14 are rented to households with income at or below 40% of AMI. The building completed construction in 2007 and is currently 99% leased. The borrower engaged Bright Power to do their benchmarking and prepared a Local Law 87 report. They are currently working on their Local Law 97 reporting, and that should be completed in the next year or two. The bonds were originally issued as auction rate bonds in 2005 and was publicly offered in an aggregate amount of $173.3 million. Subsequently, the bonds were converted to variable interest rate or demand obligation bonds in 2008, and credit enhancement was provided by Fannie. The borrower is looking to refinance the loan and implement another mode change into the direct purchase mode, and the borrower will pay interest only on the bonds for a period of 10 years. The borrower has the option for an additional interest-only period for the remaining 7-year term if the borrower agrees to extend the term of the regulatory agreement by an additional 5 years. The request is for the board to adopt bond resolutions to incorporate the terms and provisions of the underrated private placement mode, whereby Wells Fargo Bank will purchase all of the outstanding bonds for a term of 17 years. And that concludes my presentation.
I have a quick question. This is 20% affordable, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so this is not, so for Local Law 97, this would be subject to fines in 2024 because it wouldn't be exempt. I know Bright Power is doing the evaluation now, but in the underwriting, are you looking at the impact of potential fines from Local Law 97?
They are. I think that you are absolutely correct. They are. I believe that the reporting is supposed to be completed by 2024, 2025, and they are looking at the fines as well.
Okay.
If they don't meet the criteria.
Yeah, just a 10-year bond, you're going to have impacts from Local Law 97 if there's fines, and you want to look at it for 24 and then beyond because the fines will go up if they don't comply. And it's a big building, so I'm not sure how large the scope would be to electrify this building. I think it would probably be pretty big. So just at the very least, you want to evaluate and underwrite the potential fines over the 10-year term.
Yeah, I do believe that they are working on a cogen installation and the Local Law 97 compliance reporting. It says, I'm looking at my email now, that the reporting is initially due in 2025.
Okay.
Because the building is so massive, they're going to need a couple of years for Bright Power to create this report.
Okay, cogen still relies on fossil fuel, so it's complicated. But as long as you guys are considering it and taking a look at the financial impact, if they have fines, you're on it.
Great.
Melina, is there extended affordability on this one too?
Yes, 20% of affordability. That's about 83 units.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Now before the HFA members and the HFA Finance and Program Committee are resolutions to be adopted that were transmitted in connection with the item. Assuming the first and second is previously entered for HFA, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Resolution adopted. Assuming the first and second is for the Finance and Program Committee, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Resolution adopted.
Great. Okay. Now we're going to move to the AHC consent item. Resolution authorizing the award of grant funds for certain projects. And Alex, we don't present on this, right? Just consent for AHC?
We usually have the comment from Ken Adams about Dominic and his great program, which of course we all share. So now before, there he is. Now before AHC is a resolution that was transmitted in connection with this item. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered for AHC, all in favor, please say aye.
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 You got it, Dominic. The motion is carried and the resolution adopted.
Okay, there being no further business for the HFA, HTFC, AHC boards, Alex will now ask for motions and seconds to adjourn the meetings.
So assuming the first and seconds previously entered for HFA, HTFC, and AHC, all in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motions are carried. The meetings are adjourned. Our next HFA, AHC, and HTFC board meetings are Thursday, April 14th at 8:30 again. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
for
everyone.
participating.
Appreciate it. See you
Bye-bye.
next month.
We're assuming that we will be live at the next board meeting in person.
Great.
Let's hope.
Thanks, Alex.
Okay.